The great chamber of the alien council was filled with voices. Tall-scaled creatures with shining eyes sat around a circular table of black stone. They were the rulers of a vast empire that stretched across hundreds of stars. Their fleets had destroyed dozens of civilizations, leaving only silence in their path. To them, humanity was just another weak species, a small light that would soon be crushed by their power. They laughed as they spoke of Earth. One of the elder council members raised his clawed hand and declared, "The humans will fall in hours. Their ships are weak, their weapons are primitive, and their world is unguarded. By this time tomorrow, their blue planet will belong to us." The chamber filled with laughter. Another leader added, "They do not know what real war is. They have never faced an empire like ours. Let their armies resist, we will burn them from the stars," every voice agreed. They saw no danger. To them, humanity's resistance would only be entertainment. But far from the council chamber in the dark cold of space, a single human warship floated in silence. Its name was Erebus. Unlike the old human fleets that the aliens believed to exist, this ship was something different. It was the result of years of hidden work, built in secrecy, hidden from alien eyes. The Erebus did not move. Its hull absorbed the starlight. To alien scanners, it was nothing more than a shadow. Yet inside, human officers stood ready. Their faces were calm, their hands steady as if they knew something the galaxy did not. The council believed humanity would panic. But there was no panic, no fear, only waiting. The narrator of this story must pause here. Imagine the vastness of space, silence stretching in every direction, stars burning like cold fire, and a planet below where billions of humans lived their normal lives, unaware of what was about to happen. In that silence, the fate of an empire was about to turn. The alien fleets began their march toward Earth. Thousands of ships formed lines of light against the void. They moved with confidence, weapons charged, banners of their empire glowing across the dark. To them, the war was already won. On Earth, signals of the invasion reached human command. Generals looked at screens, soldiers prepared, families prayed. But there was no despair. For years, humanity had watched the empire from the shadows. Every battle, every weakness, every blind spot of the aliens had been studied. Humanity had been silent, but silence is not weakness. Silence is preparation. The alien council did not know this. They believed in their numbers. They believed in their size. They believed fear would break humanity before the first shot was fired. But inside the Erebus, the captain whispered one sentence to his crew. "They think we are broken. Let us show them what they did not know." The crew nodded. Their voices did not rise. Their eyes did not shake. The ship prepared for war with the silence of hunters. The alien fleets drew closer. Their broadcasts spread across the stars, boasting of their coming victory. They sent messages to other alien species. "Watch how humanity falls. Watch as the Earth is ours." Across the galaxy, other civilizations listened. Some believed it. Some hoped humanity would resist, but none expected what was coming. The first alien wave entered human space. Their ships filled the skies above the outer colonies. They expected fear. Instead, they found emptiness. Human stations were silent, planets hidden, ships unseen. It was as if the humans had vanished. Confusion spread across the alien lines. Their commanders shouted orders. Scanners searched the void. Still nothing. Only the stars. Only the silence. Then, without warning, a signal flashed across every alien screen. It was not in their language. It was human. Only 4 words appeared. "We are still here." The message was followed by silence again. The alien council, watching from afar, leaned forward. Their laughter dimmed for the first time. One of them whispered, "What does this mean?" But before an answer came, the Erebus moved. From the darkness, its engines lit, glowing blue fire across the void. Its weapons charged, unseen until now. The first shot it fired tore through an alien battleship, breaking it apart in one flash. The explosion lit the darkness and the silence was gone. The aliens had promised humanity would fall in hours. But in that single moment, it was not humanity that looked weak. It was the Empire. And so the hook of this story closes with a question. How can an empire fall in minutes? The answer waits in the next part. The alien attack, the council chamber, once filled with laughter, grew tense. The moment the Erebus fired, the arrogance of the Empire cracked. What was supposed to be a silent victory had turned into confusion. Reports flooded their screens. A fleet ship destroyed. Thousands of soldiers dead in an instant. The leader of the council slammed his hand on the table. "One human ship cannot harm us. Crush it now." His voice shook with anger, but beneath that anger was something else. Fear. In the depths of space, the alien fleets adjusted their formation. Thousands of ships turned their weapons toward the single human warship. The Erebus floated in the darkness, surrounded but unmoving. It did not run. It did not hide. The alien commanders laughed again, though their voices sounded forced. "Surround it. Fire at will. Show these humans their place." And then the void erupted. Beams of plasma, waves of missiles, and blasts of energy filled the darkness. The Erebus disappeared behind walls of fire. The sky above Earth turned red with explosions. To anyone watching, it seemed the human ship had been erased in seconds. Inside the council chamber, the laughter returned. "See, their defiance lasted only moments. Now humanity will learn." The words froze. The fire cleared. The Erebus was still there. Its shields glowed, cracked with light, but unbroken. Slowly, like a predator, the human ship turned. Its cannons glowed with power, brighter than the stars themselves. The silence that followed felt heavier than the storm of fire before it. Then came the second strike, a line of energy, sharp and perfect, cut through 3 alien cruisers at once. They split apart, their wreckage drifting silently as flames burned in the void. Panic spread through the alien fleet. The Erebus did not fire wildly. It fired with precision, every shot tearing apart the Empire's pride. One alien commander shouted across the comms, "This is impossible. Their weapons cannot pierce our shields." Another voice answered, trembling, "But they are piercing them." Again and again, the fleet tried to adjust. Squadrons moved in patterns meant to trap the human ship, but every move was answered before it began. The Erebus seemed to know what they would do before they did it. Inside the ship, the human crew worked in silence. No one shouted. No one panicked. Every officer knew their place. Every soldier trusted the next. Their calm stood in sharp contrast to the chaos of the Empire. The alien council leaned forward. How is this possible?" Their technology was weak. Their ships were nothing. What have they built? The answer was not given, only shown. The Erebus unleashed another wave. This time not a single shot missed. Battleships, carriers, destroyers, all torn apart as if their armor were paper. What had been called the greatest fleet in the galaxy was breaking before a single ship. Far away, on human-controlled Earth, billions watched the skies. They saw flashes in the darkness, the fire of war lighting the heavens. Fear gripped them, but then came the news. The human ship still stands. The enemy is falling. Cheers rose from cities and colonies. Humanity, once marked for extinction, now had hope. That hope grew stronger with every alien ship that burned. But the Empire was not finished. The Alien Council sent orders. Reinforcements from across the stars were to converge on Earth. Thousands more ships were on their way. "Destroy them at all costs," the Council ordered. "Even if it takes the whole Empire, crush the humans." The Erebus, however, did not move to retreat. It advanced. Its thrusters burned brighter, carrying it straight into the heart of the alien fleet. Alien ships scattered in panic. Some fired wildly, their blasts hitting their own allies. Others tried to flee, but human weapons hunted them down. For the first time in centuries, the Empire fought not with pride, but with desperation. Their voices across comms were filled with fear. They were supposed to be weak. Why are we losing? And still, the Erebus advanced. From the shadows of space, more human ships revealed themselves. Not many, only a handful, but each built with the same hidden technology, each as deadly as the Erebus. Humanity had not built an army of numbers. It had built weapons designed to end wars before they began. The Empire's vision of humanity was shattered. This was not a desperate race fighting for survival. This was a species that had studied, prepared, and waited for the right moment. The Alien Council could no longer laugh. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide. For the first time in their history, they saw the shape of their end. Still, one of them whispered, clinging to old pride, "They cannot defeat the Empire. They are only humans. They cannot hold against all of us." But as another wave of explosions lit the void, the Council realized something darker. It was not just that humans could resist. It was that humans could win, and the war they thought would last hours had already turned against them in minutes. The council chamber fell into silence. And in that silence, the Empire's fate began to crumble. Humanity's secret weapon, the galaxy had believed humanity weak. For centuries, the alien empire had studied other species, breaking them down and erasing them one by one. No one had ever resisted. No one had ever survived. But as the Erebus burned through their fleets, something darker became clear. Humanity had never been the prey. Humanity had been the hunter, waiting in the shadows. The alien fleets, once proud, broke formation. Battleships tried to regroup. Carriers launched wave after wave of fighters, but none of it mattered. Human fire cut through them with impossible precision. Every shot landed as though it already knew where the target would be. Inside the Erebus, silence ruled. The crew worked as one, their movements calm and sharp. No wasted words. No wasted action. The captain stood at the center of the bridge, his voice low but firm. "They do not know what we carry. Keep it that way until the moment is right." The officers obeyed. They had been trained for this moment, not days, not months, but years. The Empire thought humanity had wasted time building defenses, hoping to delay the inevitable. The truth was far different. Humanity had not built walls. It had built a weapon that could end wars in minutes. The aliens still did not understand. Their commanders shouted across comms, "Why are their weapons so strong? How can one ship hold against thousands?" Panic grew as more ships were torn apart, explosions lighting the void like firestorms. One alien admiral finally voiced the fear they all felt. "This is not war. This is slaughter." But what they did not yet know was that the Erebus had not even revealed its true weapon. The cannons they had seen, the shields that refused to break, the precision of its fire, these were only the surface. Beneath the armored hull of the ship rested the real secret. A system built not to fight one battle, but to end an empire. On Earth, the truth had been kept in silence. Leaders had sworn oaths never to reveal it. Even many within the human fleet did not know what lay hidden. They had let the galaxy mock them, laugh at them, pity them, all to hide the moment when the silence would break. Now that moment had come. The Erebus cut through another wave of alien cruisers. Sparks flew across its hull, but the ship moved as though untouched. The captain turned to his second officer. "Prepare the core, do not unleash it yet, but let them feel the shadow of what is coming." The officer's hands moved across the console. Deep within the ship, a chamber opened, revealing something alive with power. It was not a missile. It was not a cannon. It was something the aliens had never seen before. A weapon born from human desperation, crafted from every fragment of stolen alien knowledge, reshaped into something new. The core pulsed once. The effect was immediate. Across the battlefield, alien sensors screamed. Their ships lost balance, their systems faltered, their comms filled with static. Panic filled the void. "Our systems are failing." "What is this? What are they using?" The Erebus did not fire. It only let the core pulse again, sending waves across the void like invisible storms. Alien ships collided with one another, blinded, lost, their shields dropping without warning. The human ship glided through them like a blade. On the council world, the alien council shouted over one another. "This cannot be possible. No species has ever created such a weapon. Shut it down! Stop them!" But their orders were empty. Their empire was too far. Their fleets too broken, their control slipping with every passing minute. The humans had studied them for decades. Every weakness in their technology, every blind spot in their tactics, every flaw in their pride. Piece by piece, humanity had gathered knowledge, waiting for the day when silence would become fire. The council finally understood. Humanity's weakness had been an illusion. Every defeat, every retreat in earlier encounters had been a mask. The humans had allowed the Empire to believe the lie, that they were fragile, primitive, unprepared. And now, when the trap closed, the Empire found itself unarmed against a weapon built from its own arrogance. The captain of the Erebus gave the order. Begin precision strikes. Leave none of their carriers intact. Target their command ships. Make them blind. Make them afraid. The crew moved like shadows. Weapons fired. Alien ships crumbled. Carriers erupted into fireballs, sending wreckage spinning across the stars. Every command ship was erased in seconds. The alien fleet was now leaderless, a beast with no mind. Across the galaxy, the war was broadcast. Species long enslaved by the Empire watched in silence as humanity tore down what they had feared for centuries. For the first time, they saw the Empire bleeding. For the first time, they dared to hope, but hope was not enough for the humans. They had not fought to survive. They had fought to end this. The Erebus turned, its cannons glowing once again. The core pulsed a third time, spreading across the field like a storm. Dozens of alien ships powered down, dead in the void. They drifted helplessly as human fire finished them. The alien council could no longer speak. Their silence was heavier than their laughter had once been. They understood now the humans were not just winning. They were rewriting the law of the galaxy. And as the last of the fleet above Earth broke apart, the question whispered across every world. If this is what humans can do with one ship, what will they do with 100? The fall of the Empire. The stars that once belonged to the alien empire burned with fire. Ships that had stretched across half the galaxy were now drifting ruins. Their fleets, once praised as unstoppable, had been torn apart in minutes. The alien council sat frozen in their chamber. Their faces, once filled with arrogance, now carried something they had not felt in centuries: fear. Every report that reached them was worse than the last. Command fleets destroyed, reinforcements disabled before they even reached the battlefield. Worlds once loyal to the Empire breaking into chaos. Still, the Council tried to hold to pride. "We are the Empire," one of them shouted, his voice shaking. "No race can erase us. They are only humans. We are endless," but his words had no power. They sounded empty in the vast chamber, drowned out by the cries of their own commanders begging for help. In space, the Erebus and the other human ships advanced with a slow and merciless rhythm. They did not rush. They did not waste fire. Every movement was planned. Every strike was final. It was not battle. It was execution. Alien carriers attempted to regroup, their fighters swarming in desperate waves. But their attacks fell apart before they could even reach the human ships. The core pulsed again, invisible storms tearing through enemy systems, leaving their ships blind and broken. From above Earth, the humans pushed forward, following the retreating fleets. They did not stay to defend. They hunted. Their engines burned like cold fire as they moved deeper into enemy space. Planet after planet fell silent. Alien outposts that had once flown the banners of the Empire now drifted in ruins. Their defenses collapsed in minutes. Their leaders surrendered without even raising arms. The Empire was not only losing ships, it was losing its soul. Across the galaxy, the message spread: the humans are coming. For species long enslaved, those words were hope. For those who had bowed before the Empire, they were terror. The Alien Council tried to command order. They sent desperate signals to their remaining fleets. Hold them at the borders. Protect the core worlds. But the fleets no longer listened. Some were destroyed, some fled. Some ignored the orders, too broken to obey. For centuries, the Empire had ruled with fear. Now fear worked against them. Inside the council chamber, silence grew heavy. The elder leader looked at his fellow counselors, his voice low. This cannot be the end. They cannot bring down what we built." But even as he spoke, the truth arrived. Reports showed human ships breaking into the core systems. A planet thought to be unreachable now burned with fire. The Erebus had led the charge. Its hull was scarred, its shields cracked, but it moved forward without hesitation. The humans aboard knew this was no longer only about Earth. This was about ending centuries of oppression. The captain stood tall on the bridge. "Push forward. Do not stop until the council itself falls. The galaxy must see that their reign is over." His crew answered not with words, but with action. The ship moved, its cannons tearing through another wall of defenses. In the council chamber, the panic could no longer be hidden. Their voices clashed in fear. "Hide the council world. Scatter the command codes. We cannot let them reach us." But already it was too late. Human intelligence had uncovered everything. Every secret the council thought untouchable had been stolen. Every hiding place exposed. The Empire had lived in arrogance too long. They had never believed they could be hunted. Now the hunt had come for them. The fall of the Empire was not loud. It was not drawn out over years. It was fast, brutal, and absolute. Entire fleets gone in minutes. Worlds surrendered in hours. The symbols of power that had stood for centuries now crumbled like dust. On worlds across the galaxy, alien citizens stared at the sky as the Empire's banners fell. For the first time, they realized the Empire was not eternal. For the first time, they saw that power could break. And everywhere one name spread: humanity. The species that had been mocked. The species that had been pitied. The species that had been called weak. Now it was the name that carried fear. On the human homeworld Earth, people filled the streets. They watched the reports with disbelief and pride. The empire that had promised to destroy them in hours was gone in less than a day. The stars that had once belonged to their enemy now stood open. But even in their celebration, one truth echoed across human command. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The alien council, broken and desperate, tried to flee. Their ships moved to escape routes, carrying the leaders who had once laughed at humanity. But human fleets closed in from every direction. The Erebus itself led the final approach. The empire, once endless, now faced its last hour. And so the fall came. Not in centuries, not in years, not even in hours. The empire that had ruled the galaxy for ages collapsed in minutes. The silence that followed was heavier than all the laughter that had come before. The alien council fled. Their great chamber, once filled with light and banners, now stood empty. The walls that had echoed with laughter and arrogance were silent. The counselors who had ruled the galaxy with fear now hid inside their last fortress world, buried beneath layers of defenses. They thought they had time. They thought they had at least days before the humans would find them. But time was something the Empire no longer owned. In the darkness of space, the Erebus moved like a shadow. Its engines burned low, its hull scarred but unbroken. The captain stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the map before him. The location of the council world glowed red. He whispered only one command: end it. The human fleet obeyed. Dozens of ships, small compared to the Empire's once mighty armadas, moved into formation. Their silence carried more weight than any boast. They did not shout. They did not threaten. They advanced with the calm of hunters closing in on wounded prey. On the council world, alarms screamed. Defenses powered up. Thousands of cannons lit the skies. Shields stretched across the planet's surface. The Empire had poured centuries of wealth into this final sanctuary. It was a fortress meant to last forever. But forever ended that day. The Erebus led the strike. Its core pulsed, sending invisible storms across the defenses. Shields that had stood for generations flickered and broke. Cannons meant to burn through armies fell silent in seconds. The planet's surface, once guarded by layers of protection, was exposed. The counselors screamed inside their halls. Impossible. This world cannot fall. No power can touch us here. But power was not the answer. Silence was. For years humanity had been silent. For years they had hidden, watched, learned. And now silence had become their greatest weapon. Every secret the Empire had kept, humanity had stolen. Every defense the Council trusted, humanity had already broken. The human fleet struck without hesitation. Fire rained from the skies. Alien cities crumbled. Towers of black stone split apart. The screams of billions filled the airwaves, but there was no mercy. Not now. Not after centuries of chains. In the final chamber, the counselors gathered. Their bodies shook, their voices cracked. One asked the question none of them dared to speak before. What are they? How can humans do this? No answer came. The great doors shook. Explosions tore through the fortress. The air grew heavy with smoke. And then the doors broke open. The counselors looked up, and for the first time they saw humans standing before them. Soldiers in black armor, eyes cold, weapons steady. They did not roar with victory. They did not celebrate. They stood in silence, letting the moment weigh down on their enemies. The elder counselor dropped to his knees. His voice was broken. Spare us, we can serve you. The Empire can serve you. The human captain stepped forward. His voice was calm, low, final. The Empire is finished. There will be no masters. There will be no chains, the counselors begged. They offered knowledge, wealth, entire star systems. But humanity did not come for bargains. They came for justice. The captain gave the final order. End it. And in that chamber, the rulers of the Empire were erased. The galaxy shook as the news spread. The Empire that had lasted for centuries had ended in a single day. Not in years of rebellion, not in decades of war, but in minutes. Across the stars, worlds once enslaved lit fires of freedom. Species long broken raised their voices. For the first time, they were not afraid. For the first time, they had hope. But with that hope came fear of another kind. For if humanity could end an empire in minutes, what else could they do? The answer was whispered in every dark corner of the galaxy. Humanity had not only survived, Humanity had not only won. Humanity had claimed the power that once belonged to the Empire. The stars no longer belonged to the Council. They belonged to Earth, and as the Erebus returned to the silent void, scarred but unbroken, its captain spoke the words that would echo through history. Remember this day, the day the Empire laughed at humanity, and humanity answered with fire. The stars fell silent once more, but that silence no longer belonged to fear. It belonged to humans, and the galaxy would never forget.